Good evening, Vasters. It's Papa T here. Hope you're joining me here for a quick tutorial. Right, what we're going to do today, and I've opened this tutorial up to the public, and I'm probably going to start doing a few more for the general public. Still be a bit of stuff for Mahogany Room members, and they'll certainly get access to the HD stuff a lot quicker than the general public. But yeah, you'll certainly be able to see these things. I've had a request in to do a tutorial on syncing the PC3 to the the PC3 to the to an MPC sequencer or a production station. So that's what I'm going to do. I've gone and borrowed an MPC for the night. My bandmate's got one, and I don't use it all that much. I know a little bit about it, so if I'm a little bit slow in some of the settings on the Akai, please forgive me. It's not my sequencer of choice, but yeah, we do use it live mainly for the really good MIDI clock that it's got. So guys, if you got any tutorials, or if there's any question, or if there's anything that you want me to cover, I've gone through a lot of the initial list of tutorials that I had, so they're all up on. They've all been recorded or broadcast. I've got a few more that I'm going to get through, things like some more detail on the functions and maybe a little bit of stuff on effects. But if you've got something that is bothering you or that you want to know more about, jot it down on Kunka somewhere, or get hold of me and let me know what you're, or even on a YouTube comment. Just let me know what you're trying to accomplish, or what you need some help with. And yeah, at the moment there's not many requests, so you'll probably get something done pretty quickly, just like this one. All right, you'll see the screen that you've got up there somewhere, up above, no, other side, up above my face is not a Kurzweil PC3 screen. This is the Akai MPC2000 screen. We've got an Akai MPC2000XL. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to show you how to sync the PC3 and slave it to the Akai. It's not, the Akai side of it is actually pretty simple. The other side of it's not so easy. So what I've done, I've gone and sampled some drum hits off my 909, and I've put them onto the Akai, and I've made a short little 4-bar drum loop. Nothing special, but we'll have a bit of a listen to it now, and you can sort of hear what we're looking at. Alright, so there's just a little drum pattern there, and what we're going to do is we're going to use essentially the same setup that we did for tutorial 5 on the MIDI sync, and we're going to use that for this MPC tutorial. So we're going to sync all that up to an external clock. If you go back and watch that tutorial, you'll see I had a few problems on that night. I was trying to get Ableton going and installing, and it wasn't playing the game, so I ended up syncing it internally. But I'm going to show you today how we sync it externally. Right, so the first thing we need to do, I might pop off camera here a bit, I'll be back, I promise. So the first thing that we need to do here is that we need to set up the MPC so that it is transmitting MIDI clock. So we'll just take this down at 135.0, nice round number. And what we need to do, we need to go into, I'm going to press Shift and the 9 key, which brings it into the MIDI sync menu. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to go across here onto the right hand, the MIDI mode. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to set the MIDI clock. Simple as that. Okay, so we can go back to the main screen, and that's it. That's all we need to do on the MPC. Now I'm going to move the camera, guys, and you can come and see what I'm going to do on the PC3. So just forgive me a sec while we move this. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay, guys. So what we need to do on the PC3 to get it to sync. So what I've done is I've hooked a MIDI cable up from MIDI output A on the MPC, and it goes into the MIDI input on the back of the PC3. Okay, so that's one thing you need to do, because there's no way they can talk to each other unless you've got a MIDI cable. Okay, now the way that we're going to sync this is that we're going to slave the song, the main sequencer of the PC3, to the Akai, and we're going to use the MIDI clock signal in the setups, and we're going to assign the triggering sync to the main song in the PC3. Now, it sounds a little bit complicated, but yeah, we kind of need to do it that way. Okay, so we'll go into the song mode first of all, and what I've got here, I've just got a song. It's a blank song. It's 4 bars long. So if we just go in and have a look at the not the track, sorry, the event, you'll see there's nothing in there. So it's an empty track, nothing in there at all. Okay, so if we go into the big page, where are we? Your big page, you'll see that we've got it looped from 1-1 to 5-1, and we've got this set to loop mode. Okay, we've only got the metronome on record, but you can do that whatever you like. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is, if we go back to the main page, okay, you'll see the tempo up here is 120. So what we need to do is we need to set this to external. So to do this, you type 0 and then you press enter, and that'll set it to external. So what I'll do now is we'll just watch this. We'll go back to the big page. It's a bit easier to see. And if I press play, start on the Akai, you should see this should start off as well. So here we go. Okay, so it's looping around nicely. It's going around doing its thing. Okay, so that's the first step. So we've now got the song synced up to the Akai. So if I can, let's play this again. I'll vary the tempo this time. You see, we're following sync pretty good. Go back to 135. Oops. Alright. Okay, so we're seeing we're tracking sync pretty nicely on the PC3. So everything's all going good from this point of view. So we'll get out of song mode. We're just got to make sure that so you don't. I found that you don't need to save it when you set it. Just changing the tempo. It doesn't need to be saved for whatever reason. But anyway, so when you exit song mode, make sure you've still got this song selected, 102, well, the song, whatever you've got, so the sync song. So this is going to be a reference song. It's just 4 bars, it loops. If you work on 8-bar measures for your sequencing and what you do, which is a lot, the things like the electrobes work on, they work on 8-bar patterns. So make this an 8-bar loop if you want it on 8 bars rather than 4 bars. It's up to you, but basically we're going to use the loop point in this for re-triggering the riffs and arpeggio. So make it for as long as you want your trigger points to be. Okay, so basically have song, whatever your sync song is, have that selected when you exit song mode. So we're going to go into setup mode, and I've basically grabbed the setup tutorial that we use for tutorial 5, and I've basically set up for this MPC tutorial. So let's go in and have a look at this. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is we're going to want to set the common page, and we need to set this tempo. So normally this tempo is on internal. Okay, so first thing you need to do, you can either press 0 up here and set it to external, or you can just set it to external just on that one there. Okay, so what this is doing is this is taking the MIDI time code from the Akai and it's applying it to the setup. So the setup is saying, right, I'm going to grab whatever the clock source that gets transmitted to me from the outside world over MIDI. So we've done that. That's all we need to do on that page. So the next ones, we need to go into the because we've got riffs set up here. So let's go in and have a look at the riffs. So on riff 1, so we've got 4 zones in this setup. If you recall, if you've seen tutorial 5, there's actually 4 zones. The first 3, we've got the first zone's a bass sound, the second zone's some drums, and the third zone is like a little lead sound, just beeps in, and then the 4th zone we've just got a live piano patch. So basically we've got a song here that plays the patterns, and it's the same one for each of the 4 zones. So as we got those, the 3 zones, so they've got different tracks. So I've combined them all into one here, and it's got the start and stop times and whatnot. The one that we want though is Riff 2 page. Okay, now this is where it gets important. So your BPM, you can set this to setup, or you can set it to sequence. It doesn't matter. Or you can set it to external. So it shouldn't matter whether it's setup or external, because we've told the setup that we want the BPM to be whatever the external clock is. So that will, when it says setup, that sets it to whatever is set on that common page. Okay, so we will leave that to set up for these. So if we go up, the next one that we need to do is this sync zone. Okay, now you've got a lot of different things available here, but what we need to do is we need to set this to the main sequence, and that's song mode. So that's what we've already shown, that we've slaved the song mode to the Akai. So what we want to do is we want to set these sync timings to also match up with the loop points. So I've got these set on loop wait, which means that it's going to do nothing until it hits the first loop point. So I've got 4 bars, so it loops at 4 bars, and then it will trigger. So I can turn on this riff, and the way that I've got this riff set up, just for those that haven't watched tutorial 5, is I've got these set to the program switches 1, 2 and 3, which are the ones above the category buttons. Okay, so I've got zone 1 set to button 1, zone 2 set to button 2, and zone 3 set to button 3. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to set the main sequence, and we want to set the sync type to loop wait. So it'll wait till the loop point before it triggers it. So this is what I was saying before. It's quite important that you know how long you want your main sequence to be, because it's going to wait 4 bars in this case before it will trigger. Okay, release sync zone, again we'll have it on main sequence, and we can have it on stop, or we can have it on again, let's just do it, we'll do it on a loop, so we'll just do it on a loop point. Okay, so it will stop if we do the release. Like if the buttons are set up as toggle, so if I turn it on, it'll wait till a loop point before it starts, and if I turn it off, it'll wait till a loop point before it ends. So that's what we've said here. But you've got some other, I mean, you can have a mess around with these and determine what you like in terms of your triggering and that, but that's what I'm trying to do in this one. Okay, so I've done that basically for all of the other ones. So all of those zones are all set the same. One thing to bear in mind is that these are independent of the mute buttons. So they didn't used to be. The mute buttons used to actually stop the sequence or stop the riff or the arpeggio, but Kurzweil changed that behavior, so now it actually just mutes the sound, so that these things can keep playing in the background. You just mute them on and off. So you've still got your normal mute buttons above the sliders, and then they're independent from the trigger buttons that we've got over here on the program. Okay, so we've got in the 4th zone we've just got a piano on it, so there's no riff on there, but I've got let's just put an arpeggiator on arpeggio on these. So we've got we'll just put upwards here. So, and again, so this is, I'm just going to show you how to sync an arpeggio, because that's the other thing that you want to do is sync. Same sort of thing you want to sync to, and we're going to set this to the main sequence. And sync type, we're going to go again, we're going to go loop wait. Okay, so it's going to wait for a loop point before it triggers the arpeggio. Okay, so let's go back and let's just save this. Okay, and let's play it and let's see if it'll work. So I just press stop twice just to make sure that the PC3 sequence is back at the start, and then I'm going to trigger the Akai, and then I'll bring the zones in one at a time, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully everything will sync up. So let's go. Okay, so the play pause buttons come on when I press play. Okay, so we've triggered zone 1. I'm just going to adjust the tempo a bit. So drop it down to 120. You can see it's changing. I'll trigger zone 3 now, which is you hear it. There we go. So it's all in sync again. We're speeding back up again. drums. So I'm going to play arpeggio now. The arpeggio hasn't started. I forgot to turn this parameter on here. Alright, now it should work. This arpeggio didn't start for some reason. I'm just going to go and have a look and see what happened there. So apologies for that. I had this all working before. I'll just set this to, let's just try and do it on downbeat instead. Well, the downbeat seems to work. Let's try that again. Alright. Alright, so let's just start all this again. Alright guys, so look, I hope I've not confused you too much there with the few little bits and pieces that was going on then. But basically that's the way you want to do it. So you want to sync everything up to the main zone, or the main sequencer, sorry. So that slaves to the Akai, and then you slave everything else off that, or you slave your common page in your setup mode to your main sequencer on the Kurzweil, and then everything else triggers off that. So look guys, apologies for a little bit of confusion there. I'm gonna have to have a little bit of a look at that. Looks like there's still a few little bugs going on there, but certainly it is possible to sync things up. Just looks like there's a bit of a limit on the options that you can use for syncing. So hopefully that has taken you through the basics of getting the PC3 to sync up to something like an Akai or an external MIDI source. So just briefly again, just a summary, what you need to do is make sure that you are sending MIDI clock out of your Akai, and make sure that song mode is set up to sync to an external synth, and that you've got a blank looping song. It doesn't have to be blank. You can, if you've got another song in there that you want to play, you can use that. But I find that I'll do all that work in the riffs themselves. So a blank loop, and then setup mode, make sure that all those clock sources, so your common page, your arpeggios and your riffs all are referenced back to either the setup or to the external clock itself. Okay guys, as I said before, if you've got any questions, let me know now. I'm going to wrap this up pretty quickly. And the other thing is, if you guys if you want me to cover anything in these tutorials, and hopefully that'll go a little bit smoother than tonight's one. If you want me to cover anything, please let me know, and I'll do my best to do it. So it's been a nice little quick 25-minute stream. So I'm going to say see you later, guys, and I shall talk to you guys, or hopefully see you guys again soon. See you later.